Now, it's very labor intensive to study and prepare for standardized tests in this manner, where you're selecting an answer based on what you perceive the test maker was trying to ask, why the test maker bothered to ask that question, to scan the choices that you have, and then to select one based on the rules, some geeky rule from that subject. In this case, perhaps you chose A because of commas in a series. That would be a good reason. Or rules for positive and negative might be a response. Subject-verb agreement could be tested. Possessive pronouns. Transitional words between the paragraphs, perhaps. Or maybe they're testing the slope of a graph. Now, when you go and check your answers, if this is exactly what they were talking about, then you know you at least are recognizing why the test maker is making the question. If your answer is correct, that commas are used in a series, you've basically nailed the exact reason and the answer, the reason why the test maker asked the question. It was a question about commas in a series, and you also nailed the correct answer because the commas are used in a series. So when you agree with the test maker for the reason that the test maker says that the answer is right, then you have the right answer. If your answer is correct, but you got the wrong reason for saying it, you need to do a little more research and refresh your memory on those types of concepts. If you're just clueless, plain clueless, I have no idea even how to start this problem, then flipping back to the answers and having the test maker explain the reasoning or where you should be thinking actually does help you when you see this concept in another fashion. You're probably not going to see the same question from your practice that is on the exam that you're taking the day of the test, but you're certainly going to see the concepts repeated. So studying in this way is very, very advantageous. One more thing about the studying part. This is so labor intensive with the thought process that has to go into it that I suggest that you do no more than about 15 or 20 minutes of this a day. If you know that you've signed up for this test or that it's coming in if you've given yourself a couple of months, or hopefully you're going to have a couple of weeks anyway, where each night you pull out your material and do about 15 to 20 minutes of answering in this way, you'll be surprised how your studying is very valuable, it's efficient, and you'll do quite a bit better on your test during the test-taking period. Those tests also are huge. They're long. They're several hours that you're dealing with this. So you're going to have to build up your ability to stay with it. But doing it in small increments of time over time is going to help you build that up. So this is how I would suggest studying for those standardized tests, in small increments, 15 to 20 minutes at a time, putting your answer and giving a reason, thinking about why the test maker said. Also, sometimes the 15 or 20 minutes a night doesn't have to be used to answer questions. You could use that period on just kind of studying up on why semicolons are used, or how quotation marks are used, or just refreshing your memory on the rules for positive and negative, because they're different for adding or subtracting or multiplying and dividing. So you could just use a 15-minute period of time on that particular night for just refreshing yourself on those concepts. That might be good if you don't really feel like answering questions on a particular night, so that you could just do the studying part. I think you're going to find this valuable. I've taught it this way for years, and my students really do much better on these tests. After a while, they don't even really need to have the instruction, because this can just be self-propelling. If you have the discipline to sit down and do this 15, 20 minutes a night. I've actually had students tell me that they climb into bed and they go like, oh, I forgot to do my 15 minutes on the SAT. And they actually get up and do 15 minutes. That's dedication. One last point to make before I leave the standardized testing is to remind you that this series of videos actually covers all of the things that we've been talking about. So you can go back and use your 15 or 20 minutes watching some of those videos to get the basics of the grammar, the basics of the math, the basics of paragraph structure, the basics of graph reading for the science part and social studies parts of those tests. So please help yourself to peruse the website and the entire realm of videos. Put in your vocabulary word or the topic into the search bar. You're going to be able to bring up the videos that discuss this or the other forms of information that are given within the website.